Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to extract PDF file table data using Amazon Textract. As you see in this PPT, this is the design diagram which depicts this solution. Before I explain to more details in regards to this demo, I can request please do subscribe my channel. That would really encourage me a lot. So with that note, we can get started. So in the first part, I'm going to explain how does this design works. In the second part, I'm going to explain you the the code walkthrough and all. Finally, we're going to see how does this system works and extract the table data and gives it in a usable format, okay, where your application can consume it for further processing purpose. Yeah. All right. So let me walk you through this design one. Yeah. So first of all, here it contains this Amazon Textract solution to extract the PDF file data. It contains multiple components. Okay. If you see here, there are multiple AWS services are working together and achieving a scenario, extracting the PDF table, PDF file table data. Yeah. So the design of this solution is something like this, and the flow of this design starts from here, right? For example, he's a business user. Okay, so he has a PDF file which belongs to the business, and that contains a PDF file. That contains a PDF file table data. It contains a table data. And that contains very valid data, and you need that data to be extracted from the PDF file, which is a raw data, and you need to put it in a structured storage or structured structured storage systems. Okay, so for example, it can be SQL, data warehouse, anything, right? So in this case, this is the design which comes in very handy, right? So when the business user uploads a file to the S3 bucket, okay, so this S3 bucket has has been configured to invoke a Lambda. So here I'm using two Lambdas. Let's call this Lambda as an Invoker Lambda. Okay, so which actually invokes the Amazon Textract to extract the data from the from your PDF file, that is specially table data. Yeah. So so this Lambda is S3 bucket object create invoke. Okay, so it gets invoked whenever there is a S3 bucket objects gets uploaded into the into this Amazon S3 bucket, right? So that's the reason it depicts upload a PDF file to S3 bucket, which invokes, right? The file upload invokes this Lambda, which is an invoker Lambda, and this Lambda has a logic. I'm going to show you those codic logic as well in the next to this discussion. And this Lambda invokes Amazon Textract APIs, right? I'm using here Python, so maybe you can use another SDK supported here. So it invokes an API called start document asynchronous analysis. Okay, so this design supports asynchronous. Okay, in the sense you can upload as many number of PDF file as you want. This system keeps on extracting the data present in each file, each file, and it gonna keep it as a separate output. Okay, I will show you how does it. So it starts the document analysis asynchronously, right? So when it invokes the start document asynchronous analysis, the Amazon Textract, right, it's going to respond you with a job ID, and that job ID becomes a reference to further query the Amazon Textract to get the required result out of the Amazon Textract, right? Again, so when we invoke this Amazon Textract, so we are also using further services, right? We are using SNS and SQS combination, which is these SNS and SQS services are services which will help us to achieve the asynchronous processing at AWS cloud. Okay, so these are the very handy services which comes very handy when we want to have the asynchronous processing, right? So this is where I'm using this. So basically, when I invoke a start document analysis, I'm going to give SNS topic, SNS topic ARN, and that will be used by Amazon Textract. And the Amazon Textract finally, when it completes the job of start document analysis, it's going to publish a message into the SNS, and that SNS has the subscriber, that is SQS as a subscriber here. But eventually, whenever there is a message been published in the SNS, right, by the Amazon Textract, and that message gets queued to the SQS queue, right? And whenever the message saying like this job is completed, right, so that message comes to the queue, and again we have another Lambda, let's call it as a result extractor Lambda, right? And that Lambda gets invoked by this SQS queue, right? And this Lambda has a logic which will read the queue, identify the job ID. With using the job ID, it again runs one more API command against Amazon Textract called get document analysis, and which will eventually help the Lambda to get that the data present in this data of that particular processing, PDF file processing. And then this Lambda has a further logic to refine the output of the Amazon Textract and put it in a very usable format in the Amazon S3 bucket, right? So the very usable data will be converted into a JSON format, a very neat JSON format, and that will be put across in the Amazon S3 bucket, right? So that's all. So this is the system which keeps on running. This is a cycle which keeps on running for every upload, every upload that you're going to do, that your business going to do. Okay. Now, so this is the refined data is now, again coming and sitting on another destination S3 bucket. So I have used only single bucket picture here, but you can use I have used the another S3 bucket, which is called as a result storage bucket. Okay. So now the developer, what it does is, or any application, what it does is, it will consume that result S3 bucket and it will download the result JSON file, and it's going to consume that data further processing purpose. Okay. So that is basically, this is the design, I have been constructed based on the AWS, recommendations and all. Yeah. All right. This is a quick walkthrough of the design. Now I'm going to show you how did I set up this completely. Okay. All right. So for this one, I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to show you the components being structured, and then I'm going to walk you through the code, and finally we show you the demo as well. So here, we need an IAM role, right? And I have given the name called AWS PDF table extract role, and this has very minimum permissions. It has a permissions like, access, permissions on S3 bucket, Textract full access, Lambda execution, SQS access, SNS access, and then the Lambda execution policy. We have given only the permissions required for this ecosystem, yeah, for this application system, yeah. All right. Now, and the another component of the that role is trust configurations. In the trust configuration, if you see, I have added one trust statement. In that one, we have added the effect equal to allow. In the principal, we are allowing the principal who can trust this role is Textract service, because as I said, the Amazon Textract service is going to use that role, and it's going to publish, with using that role, it's going to publish a message of completion or failure into this SNS, right? All right. So now, this is that's the reason we have added, this role will be trusted by textract.amazon.com. And again, the same will be trusted by the AWS Lambda as well. Yeah, because I'm using the same role for those Invoker and result, Lambdas, right? And finally, we are giving only STS assume roles. All right. So this is the role definition. Now I'm going to go to the next bucket structure. So here, as I said, I have two buckets here. One is the upload bucket. Another one is the Textract result bucket. Right. I will go through the diagram. So this is how it represented only one bucket, but yes, the downloader, the consumer will point to the result bucket. The source or the uploader will point to the source bucket. Yeah. So here uploader will go to the upload bucket, and Textract result will go to the Textract result bucket. Yeah. All right. Now we go to the next one. So in the next one, I have the Lambda. So for this case, as I shown you in the diagram, we have two Lambdas. One is the Invoker Lambda, other one is the get result Lambda. In the Invoker Lambda, I'm going to show you what are the configurations I did. Yep. So I will go just above. So here, so this is just a plain, Python 3.9 runtime Lambda. And in this Lambda, we have the configurations. If I go to the configurations, in general configurations, we have, I have added like memory equal to 1 GB, and the timeout equal to 15 minutes. Okay, so these are the general configuration, highest configuration I have kept, because we need this. Okay, or else it's going to fail. And in the trigger, if I show you the trigger, that's what I was explaining in this diagram. So this Lambda gets invoked by this upload S3 bucket. Whenever there is upload happens, that should trigger the AWS Lambda, which is an Invoker Lambda. Yeah. So in the upload bucket, you see, right? So whenever somebody uploads here, this will invoke this Lambda. Okay, and that's the reason you see the triggers are being added here. And in the condition, if you see, whenever there is a S3 object is created with the suffix .pdf files, then only you invoke this. Yeah, that's what it means. So this is the basic construct of my Lambda. I will go to the code and I will quickly walk you through this. Anyways, the code file will be shared in GitHub repo, and the GitHub repo can be found in this video's description. You can find it from there. All right, so now let me explain what is the invoke Textract Lambda logic is all about. In this one, I'm importing the exception, logging, Boto3 modules, time, exception, blah blah. Yeah, and here I'm keeping some global variables. This is important, as I said, right? We have a SNS. We need an SNS topic, and that SNS topic ARN has to be configured here, and we will gonna use that. while invoking the Textract APIs. And then we have the role. This is also will be consumed by the Textract. These are the parameters of the Textract API invocations. Finally, we are creating a client of service Textract, right? And these are the functions I have written. One is a processing document, right? And if you see, right, so maybe you need to go this logic level. I'm not going to that deep level. So this function will invoke the start document analysis. In this one, we are pointing to the S3 object. This is the bucket name and this is the key name. And feature, we are asking for only table features, right? And then then we are adding some feature called table feature, okay? So that Textract understand that it does not needs to extract the raw data, but also need to consider the table extraction logic as well, right? That's what it means. In the notification channel, we are using the the role and also the SNS topic, yeah? And finally, that's all. So this is the heart of this function, okay? This is where it does. And I have added exponential backup as well. You see that I have added exponential backup. And finally, it returns the result. Yeah, it returns a job ID. That's all. It does not do anything. So since this is a asynchronous job, so we just invoke it. That's all. We just invoke the button, and that's all, and get the job ID for the further processing. So this is document processing, and this is a Lambda handler. So in the Lambda handler, what I'm doing is, as this Lambda invoked by the S3 bucket, we're gonna read through the records. In the sense, we're gonna read through the event. In the event, we have a list called records. For each records, we are getting the bucket name, we are getting the key name, right? And finally, we are invoking the above function. Yeah. And this basically what it does is, if I go to the diagram, so this is the Lambda which does that. Okay. So whenever there is upload happens, it checks whether there are multiple upload is happening or not. If happens, it's gonna iterate through the for loop and invoke the this Amazon Textract for each file. That's what it does. Yeah. All right. So this is all about the invoker Lambda. Now I'm going to go to the result Textract Lambda. Okay. So this is the another set of Lambda. That is with exact configurations as I shown in the invoker Lambda. So here the configurations are same. 24. That's 1 GB, 1 GB, and the timeout here is. I just need to increase the timeout. This is 3 seconds right now. It not going to work. So this is, yeah, basically it's not showing, but under the hood, this has that configurations. If I go to here you go, right? I'm going to edit this. Timeout is very less, so I'm going to increase it to 15 seconds. Okay, because 15 minutes is the maximum. We need to keep it and save it. Yeah. All right. So now I have updated the configurations again. I forgot to tell you that this is a normal AWS Lambda of runtime Python 3.9. Yeah. And in the configurations, these are the general configurations I followed. In the triggers, we have added SQSQ trigger. So this is the SQSQ I have created for this demo purpose. Right. So as I said in this diagram, we need an SQSQ and also SNS topic. Right. The SQSQ has been created here. I'm going to open this SQSQ. And in the edit, if you go to the edit, this needs to have the visibility timeout equal to 15 minutes. Why? This is the prerequisite, so that this queue can invoke the Lambda with this visibility. Okay. All right. So that's about the queue. And now this queue, that is Amazon Textract queue, this queue is invoking this result Textracts, and that's what been configured here. If I open this. Okay, so basically, whenever there is a queue gets added into this SQSQ, it invokes this Lambda, and the batch size, in the sense how much queues it should invoke a Lambda in one shot. That is 1. Okay, one queue will invoke 1. Okay, so that's a 1 after the 1 it will invoke. Yeah. All right. And the permissions. Okay, so I didn't explain the permissions. I'm using the same rule which I explained earlier. Yeah. And the same for even invoke Textract as well. Now let's go to the code part. Yeah. I'm going to go to the code part, and then finally we are good for the demo. So in the code part, I'm going to just expand it. Anyways, these two codes, the invoker Textract and the result Textract code, will be uploaded in my GitHub repo, and the link will be shared in this video's description. You can find it from there. Yeah. So this is a bit lengthy Lambda. I'm just going to walk you from the top to bottom. I'm just okay. So let me go back to the this page, and here we are importing certain modules here. Yes, I need to tell you one very important thing here. This Lambda needs an Lambda layer, that is a Amazon Lambda layer, and that Lambda layer file is uploaded in this GitHub, in my GitHub repo, and the GitHub repo's link will be shared. Right, as I said, you can find this python.gif file from my GitHub repo. create a Lambda layer with using this one. What is this? I'm going to explain you right now. So okay. Alright, so this Lambda layer which I have created, I'm going to go to this Lambda layer. Right, so this is the Lambda layer I have created. This is my analyze Lambda layer with version 1, and it compatible to this runtimes. Yeah, and this is the layer which contains the module which I'm using in this function. So, okay, so result extract. Okay, so we are not just extracting the result from the Textract, but we are refining it. Why we are refining? Because the output from the Amazon Textract is in a very complex format, and it is not a directly consumable purpose. For that case, I'm using Python Textract module called TRP, right? And this module is not being installed in this Lambda by default. You need to create a Lambda layer like I showed you. And the for your help, I have already zipped that python.zip file, and I'm gonna already uploaded in this the code repo. Yeah, and the repo link is already been shared. You can reuse that same, yeah, and create a Lambda layer and attach it to this Lambda as I attached to this one. Yeah, all right, and that's the same module. We are importing it here. We have a OS as well. We have a JSON time Boto 3 extra, right? Here we are setting the multiple clients. You see, one is a Textract client, S3 client, and then we have the bucket name. So why bucket name? Because this Lambda is supposed to store the very refined output in a destination bucket, that is a result bucket, right? That's what we are doing here, and I'm going to explain you the further definitions, the functions I have written in this Lambda. Result, okay, so one is results, in the sense I just need to get the results. Okay, that's the reason I have written at this Lambda. The maximum result is being set to thousands, pagination, finished. Okay, this is just a codec trick I have done so that I can extract the result of a particular job ID. Yeah? And we can get that job ID data by using the API called get document analysis, and this is the job ID and maximum result. And this is just it uses the while loop and extract all the the result present under the job ID. Yeah? And finally we are storing it to the page, and page will be returned. Okay, so this is the function which will be consumed down the line. Yeah. And finally I have written one more function to upload the result into the S3 bucket. Okay, and this is just logic. What it does is it's going to create a JSON file dynamically within the Lambda runtime, and that file will be having the required table data. It structures the table data in the required format. The structured PDF table data will be uploaded in a S3 bucket, and this is what the Lambda it does. Okay, basically we are doing upload. Okay, we have a data. So if you see, we have a job ID, we have that data, we have the table index, right? We are using this one, and we are uploading that data into the an S3 bucket, which is a result S3 bucket. Okay, that's what this Lambda does. Anyways, this logic will be this file will be shared for sure for you. You can refer it and get it more depth. Okay. All right. So next one is get table from the extract result. Okay. So this is where the custom logic I have written. Okay. As I said, when we get a result from directly from the Amazon Textract with using the job ID, that is a very raw data, and it is not a consumable directly. And for that case, we are using. You see, this is where the TRP module is being used. In the TRP module, we are using the document, and in the document, we have the page. Page is nothing but what? It's a raw data from the Textract, right? And that is being converted into a JSON, and that JSON is given as an input to this trp.document function, and we got a very refined document, and we are iterating to this for loop. First one, we are checking the pages, then we are checking the tables, then we are checking the indexes, right? Then finally we are checking the rows, right? And finally, we are iterating through the cells of each rows, and doing this, creating here I'm creating a dictionary dynamically, and this dictionary is getting appended to the table row, right? So you see, this is the table. It is being appended here, and finally we are printing the table, and this is the same table gonna upload, right? If I go show, so this is where upload to S3 bucket, right? So this table is an input here. If I go to this one. Right, so this is the table, right? And that is being input to this S3 bucket. Okay, and that's the same, you can see it here. Okay, all right. Now go to the next one. That is a Lambda handler, which is a natural or the main function which invokes all the above, right? So in this one, since this Lambda is being executed by the SQS queue or triggered by the SQS queue, what we are doing is we are printing the message. We are getting the queue. From the queue, we are extracting the job ID. Basically, what we are doing is out of the queue, we want that job ID. Use that job ID, get the result, upload into the S3 bucket. Okay, that's what it does. You see, get result. Okay, in the sense we are getting the results, and that result is being fed to this another function called get table from the table extract result. Okay, and finally we're going to have the result in this result table. I'm going to go above. We have a table here, so in the result table. Yeah, so that's all. So this is what the tricks or this is what the logic I have written. So this is the queue, and we have one more service called SNS service. I'm going to show you that as well. Okay, so basically yeah, all right, so I'm going to just go to this function, simple notification function. Yeah, so while it is uploading, I'm going to go back to the diagram so that you can visualize what I have explained, right? So if I can reiterate, we are uploading the file. This upload file, it invokes this Lambda, and it invokes a start document analysis, which is a asynchronous process invocation. And in this, while you are doing this one, we are passing the parameter called S3 bucket metadatas. We are giving the SNS topic URL, right? Once Amazon completes its processing, it publishes a SNS message, and that message is being subscribed by the SQS queue. While the queue is being told, okay, so in the sense this Lambda gets invoked by this queue, and whenever this gets invoked, it's gonna get the result of that particular analysis, and it also refines the data, raw data, in the readable format or usable format, and this Lambda finally uploads into the destination or the result bucket, and that result bucket can be used by this developer, right? That's what it is, and that's what I have shown you. I'm gonna go to the topics, and this is the topic I have created. Okay, and for your help, I have created one more file called create SNS and SQS. Maybe you can just click this, just set your AWS configure and click this button done, and you're gonna have your SNS and SQS created, right? All right, so now it is show time. Yeah, so I have walked you through this one. Let's test it. Okay, so for the testing, what I do is we're gonna follow the process. Now let's say I'm a business user, I'm uploading an S3 bucket to this upload bucket. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the add files, right? I'm gonna go to the add files now. So what I'm doing is I'm uploading an S3 bucket to this. I'm uploading a example table file. So here is a table file. I will show you how does this table file looks. I just only to open this. So this is the table file I'm just using to experiment it. Okay, so this, let it open. Currently it is opening. So while it opens, I'm just parallelly run it, upload it. So this is already open. Okay, so all right. So this is the table.pdf file. It contains some table. We're gonna see we want these data to be extracted in a JSON format. Yeah. All right. JSON format is a application usable format. Okay. PDF is not the one. Yeah. All right. So we have uploaded, and it is a very fast solution. It's gonna work. You're gonna have the result in this result bucket in blink of eyes. Here you go, right? So earlier there were no file, and it has just now created. If you see the timing, so it has just now created in the 45. Yeah, and this is what been extracted by the complete solution. I'm going to download this file and show you that how does it looks. Currently it is downloading. I will go to the downloads, and then the latest download. So this is the latest download. I'm going to open it in S3 in the Notepad++. And this is the data you see, right? So if I can copy this and go to the JSON lint, I'm going to go to the JSON lint. Why I'm going to the JSON lint? Because so that you can see that how does this data extracted looks. Okay. Anyways, while it is loads, this is the very application usable format. Okay. JSON is what? It's a JavaScript notation file. Okay. So which is really consumable by the by the any kind of application. So we'll go to the JSON lint. All right, so finally I'm going to show you with the JSON lint how does it looks, and then we are done with the demo. Yeah. All right, so let's go to the JSON lint, and yeah, so let's go to the JSON lint finally. Yeah, so here is the JSON lint. So what I do is I'm going to paste that here and do a validation. It's going to give you a very beautified format. Yeah. All right, so I didn't click on the JSON validate. All right, so this is the data which is extracted, right? You see each dictionary represents a one row, right? So one row, right? It's here is the key, this is a value, this is a key, this is a value, right? That's what it does. Okay, so one, if I can go back to the this one, so disability, ballot, result, right? And that's what it completely extracted, and this is a usable by the application. Yeah. All right, I have successfully shown you the things to be shown in this video. Finally, a kind request, please do subscribe my channel. That would really encourage me a lot. Yeah. So, and also, if you have any queries, maybe you can post your queries in this video's description. Yeah. All right. So finally, thank you very much for watching my videos. And again, very kind request, please do subscribe my channel. That would really encourage me a lot. So with that note, thank you. Thanks a lot, and see you in the next video.